Here we go. Welcome everyone to the 600 Pound Down podcast. I'm Coach Justin. Along with me is Coach George, and man, we are happy to be here tonight. We have some interesting stuff to talk about tonight, and we always say that when we enter on these opportunities to record a podcast. But I think we really find our categories just very intriguing. Is why we're talking about them. Tonight's topic, George, is going to be on maxing and it sounds like, I mean, I've heard of maxing my credit cards, I've heard of all those things, but when we talk maxing in general, it's really just something that young people are really getting into. It's kind of a social media trend of emphasizing anything that they're doing. It's going above and beyond the norm, and it's creating such a, I guess, such a push to be perfect and have perfection in particular areas that it's causing just our young people to be desensitized, teenagers especially, and mostly teenage boys, George, are impacted by this. Now, teenage girls are as well, but it's more prevalent in the boys. And so, man, I'm not going to talk too much about my teenager just because I don't want him to listen to this and get all embarrassed. So I probably won't be sharing a lot tonight. But man, you have two littles, so we've got a lot to look forward to in about 10 years.
Well, listen. Everyone needs to know how did we pick this topic? Here's how this went. Justin, George, you want to record a podcast? Me, yes, Justin, I do. He goes, okay, this is what we're doing. I'm like, I have no idea what this is. I'm so out of touch. Justin has a teenager in the house, and so he's got his ear to the grindstone. Like he's got feet on the streets. He knows what's going on. He's all hip and trendy over there, and he's just talking about, yeah, we're gonna talk about maxing. And I'm like, bro, you gotta send me an article. Like, I don't know what but man, it's crazy. I mean, it's no secret that teenage boys have always had a problem with, personal hygiene. So that's not new. But at least now, there's a slight purpose to it other than pure laziness and apathy. Bro, you sent me an article and I'm kind of reading. I'm reading some other stuff that you sent me, and I'm just like, this is really a thing.
It is really a thing. There's a bunch of different maxing. So, kind of a definition: maxing is the idea of constantly maximizing your appearance, energy, or even body parts to fit an unrealistic standard. So, yes, this is something that's up and coming on socials all over the place. Really not up and coming. It's been out for years, but it seems like it just keeps expanding and expounding on particular topics. And so, some of the maxing qualities or maxing standards that they have out there would be like, number one would be aura maxing. It would be looks maxing. It would be height maxing, which I don't know how you maximize your height
Yeah,
without getting surgery, but
I feel like that's like you can't. I don't know. Keep going.
yeah. Height maxing, and then there's size maxing, which is, chased by porn-driven myths. And
Yep.
then there's an interesting one I found interesting that really you were kind of touching on a minute ago about teenage boys not showering, but pheromone maxing. Pheromones. It's the reaction. How do you describe what a pheromone is? It's kind of like a reaction. Usually it's somebody being attracted to the male sweat or female sweat. It just kind of releases a reaction in the brain when they inhale it and sniff it in, supposedly, and that creates this hormonal response. And then people are like, oh, I like them. And young boys are thinking, teenage boys are thinking, man, if I stink, if I have natural body odor, it releases natural pheromones and it'll attract the ladies. Last time I checked, most women, most girls, I think they rather have their boys clean than unclean. I don't know about you, but I think that's still a
Yeah,
thing.
dude, I remember being in middle school. Okay, and this, I mean, I guess this bro was maxing before maxing was cool, but I remember being in middle school and this kid just stank, man. Like he just smelled like straight poop all the time. And I'm not gonna say his name, so this, who knows? If you know me, this might be you. Um,
Wasn't
but
me. I didn't know you.
but dude, like it was so bad, and I was so embarrassed, like for him, but I didn't have the courage at the time to be able to be like, bro, you need to take a shower, man. And so from that point on, I committed to a triple threat. Okay. Showering, deodorant, body spray every dang day, dude. Like you could not. I was a triple threat. You know, it was gonna happen. It was there, and I swore I would never smell bad. I would never smell bad from that point on.
But you do today.
Well, because I'm in preparation. So we did a social experiment. Coach Georgius Maximus, if you will, um, did a social experiment. And by social experiment, I mean drudgery to everybody else on the planet. So I have been pheromone maxing today. I actually just went to the gym, so I'm like maxed out, if you will, and I'm showering after we get off here. Yeah, like it's not, like dude, you know, honestly, when we talk about this whole idea of just maxing, because you and I were talking a little bit before we hit record. And I almost always blame anything and almost everything on social media these days. It's very easy to blame social media because it really is all their fault. So, you know, when you go on social media, you see the 5% of success in people's lives and the other 95% could be complete and utter trash. So when you see the reels and the Instagram stories and Facebook stories and whatnot and posts and everything, and you see all these people get these followers and they're like, yeah, man, I haven't showered in like, you know, 3 days. And it's like, maybe that's why there's no one else in the picture with you, right. You know? So, but these kids, man, these kids that are growing up now, that are doing this, they have known nothing other than social media. Yep. I mean, the peak of social media really reached when these kids were kind of getting into that age range. And so they have known no other life than these social media platforms. And so what that has now done, I think, to the teenage psyche, because now I'm philosophizing. This is me philosophizing. I'm philosophizing. I'm wisdomous. It's in the eyes.
I hear it.
But, you know, these kids will go on. They'll believe almost anything because they're so insecure. They have this massive insecurity. And so anything that anyone with perceived success, I'll say perceived success, and I say that on purpose, they will just go for it. Really what social media has done to the individual, it has stripped away their entire personality, and now their personality morphs with whatever room they're in.
Yep. Nope. It's I see it every day. And I see it in my son. I see it in his friends. You know, it's a social media. I mean, it has its benefits. It has its positives.
I mean, look at us. We're on social media right now.
Right. 100%. And it's positive. And there's well, depends who you ask. Positive. We're positive. But there's also the negative trends that go on with it. And then you want to mix that with impressionable ages and age groups. You want to mix this with social media where you can find, and again, I'm not attacking it. There can be a lot of good. In fact, I find a lot of good. I laugh. I see scriptures. I see some pretty cool stories that are out there, which, by the way, can't even tell if it's AI anymore half the time. But anyway, bro, I digress. Yeah. But, I mean, you see everything that you want on socials. You got people, and people are very much into themselves. People will rent out. I was watching this one reel. There's this influencer. She's a girl. And she rented out somebody's pool, I'm going to call it pool deck. And she was just making videos like all day long, rented it out. And then the guy was like taking, not a creepy picture, but just kind of like recording her, what she was doing, and kind of posted it and said, literally, this is what influencers do all day long. They like just being silly. And it's all, here's the thing. They will record these things that are very, very silly and maybe not even real what they're doing. Then they'll put it into a reel and edit it. And it looks totally different than how they were recording it to get views. And sometimes these things, when you see some of these things, people are comparing themselves, say, oh, I want to try that too. I want to do that too. I want to see this too. It's not, how would I put this? Social media is not 100% reality. And teenagers are watching, especially. And as their brain is developing, the frontal lobe is developing, they're being influenced by influencers who don't really care about the person watching them. They just care more about the views that they're getting and they're receiving. And they care more about the funds that come in from that. Because, hey, if you're monetized, baby, you're making some money. Hey, I finally got monetized. I make about $8 a month. Finally. I made it, Mom. I made it. But it's interesting what they will do to get views, and then how the kids will look at that and watch that, and they start these trends. And that's how maxing came out. It's like this individual on, I think it was on TikTok, developed this standard of, hey, it's called looks maxing, so you gotta look better than everybody else, and if you want to look good, you want the girls, especially speaking to the guys, you want the girls, then guess what you're gonna have to do? You're gonna have to change your appearance. You're gonna have to maximize your jawline. You're gonna have to make your eyebrows a little thinner, and you're gonna have to, dye your hair a certain color, and you're gonna have to, all these things that, if I was a young person hearing all this, and George, when I was younger, man, I was out of shape. I was overweight. I did not like myself. And if I were to observe looks maxing at that point in my life, that would have led to even worse depression, because I could not even compete with that ever, ever.
When we look at that whole looks maxing thing, talking about body shape and body composition and stuff, I mean, that goes directly into our lane. And when you watch a video like that, it really gives you really poor examples of what it means for what we want to see happen, what we do, basically. Lose fat, build muscle, get be healthier. And when you do that, obviously the physique is going to come with it. But when you have these kids that are, I'm gonna go there. I'm going there, man.
Don't hold back. Don't you hold back.
When you have these kids that are like, yeah, you gotta have that, dudes, like, you gotta have the broad shoulders and that V taper. We're seeing an upswing in eating disorders in young boys.
Yep.
As time goes on, because of stuff like this, because here's the problem. What do you always say, bro? We're a microwave culture. We want it right now. And so when these kids see this and they say, well, I got to get that V taper, what are they going to do? They're going to start creating poor, unhealthy habits. I'm trying not to get us flagged right now. Can you tell? But everybody knows what I'm talking about, right? So, you might have, the exit up top, or you might not be putting anything in, and you will try to lose the weight that way. And it's just not good, man. Like, you are creating a whole new set of issues and problems, both psychological and physical, if you are looking to do these. Quite honestly, like, this is a silly trend. Am I able to say this?
I don't know. One teenager's probably gonna cancel us now.
Like, this is ridiculous. I don't know. Am I just old now? Am I just, like, on the other side of things?
I think you just have wisdom. I think it's just wisdom. They're unrealistic expectations. That's the problem. That it's nothing. Here's the culture. Like you said, it comes down, like, this is our lane, man. We're all about becoming healthier, losing fat, gaining muscle, becoming healthy at the cell level, all the things, quality of life. And this kind of fits, but it's an unhealthy version. It's kind of like diet culture out there. And it's the unnecessary searches that people are making. It's the, I'm looking for the answer in all the wrong places. Validation is not found in your accomplishments. It's not found in looking a certain way. It's not found in how cool you appear, or how much aura, which kids would say today, teens would say today, how much aura you have today. It's really not found in that, and we got it twisted. And if let's talk about, just for a brief second, we go into Christianity, right? We as individuals have a belief and a foundational piece upon the existence of Jesus Christ, and whom has died for his people and has given us a new identity. He has helped us die to our flesh and crucify the old flesh and who we were. And now, because of his death and resurrection, we can now claim identity in him and call him ours and ours him. And now we have a new identity. We don't live in the identity of this world anymore. We're new people. And we can subscribe to ourselves to a new identity in Jesus Christ. The old man is dead. Behold, I'm a new creation, right? So, and you want to go, and I'm sure you're more of a thorough, like, you can geek out on this all day long. I know you can, but in a roundabout fashion, like, you get what I'm saying, right? And you could probably paraphrase it better.
Well, words matter. Aura, vibe. What is that? What is that? Is this your subjective term for what you perceive to be your ultimate reality.
Mm-hmm.
Because look, if we're going subjective, everything's on the table or nothing is. Pick which one you want. I just this I told you this before we hit record. It just screams insecurity to me.
Mm-hmm.
It does. You have lost yourself in the void of of your own subjectivity of who you are and what you think you need and what you think others expect from you. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because what I want to do, because as a dad, all I want to do is I just want to grab these kids and I just want to instill a semblance of just integrity in them and like self value and just like you're conforming to something. You're conforming to other person's perceived perceptions of you.
Yep.
That you don't even know if they're true or not. And at the end of the day, they don't matter. And so now you're going to find yourself at the end of all this. I mean, okay, I'm just going to go through the list. We're going to go through the list and we're going to talk about how bad this could get. Okay.
Yeah.
Looks maxing. You dye your hair too much, it damages your hair. You mess with your skin too much, it damages your skin. Your body shape, we've already talked about that. Aura maxing. You are incredibly insecure because what you perceive as perfection could be someone else's imperfection. And if you get a hold of that, and then your insecurity is going to go through the roof. Height maxing, dangerous. Injuries. Do I really need to go in more into that? Size maxing, chasing porn-driven myths. Appendages. I'm going to use the word appendages. Children listen to this show. But you're for women and men, you're special places. I'm trying, but this whole, I mean, because porn culture isn't just the subreddit on the internet anymore. I mean, it's in commercials now. I was watching a Disney Plus movie with my kids, and I got a Hims commercial that comes on during Moana. And I'm just like, what is that?
Is that Blue Chew?
Oh, dude, I'm watching Moana with the kids, man. And I got a Hims commercial coming on. Good grief. But you have you have men perceiving what women want. You have women perceiving what men want. And it's just, it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
You're creating a culmination throughout your life between your physical, your mental, your chemical reactions that are going on in your body with this whole pheromone maxing, as far as like your skin and your oil on the skin and whatnot, because sometimes that could really irritate and give people like rashes and scales and whatnot. But I just want to take the teenagers. We're gonna put them in a room, and we're going to tell them, you need a shower. You need to wear deodorant. And honestly, we need to tell them that you have value.
Mm-hmm.
Because they live in a world that tells them that they don't have value until they show what the masses deem valuable.
Yep. That's absolutely correct. No, that's they live for the approval of everyone else and they don't know who they are in the midst of it. That's the sad part. It's you went over the list, man. I mean, the aura maxing thing, they judge themselves and they create their own score basically on their performance. And if they did something above and beyond, that's more aura. And examples would be like, if they were to trip in a hallway at school and everybody watching them and they tripped but they caught themselves, or if their books flew near and they caught the books and they didn't fall, that's aura points. But if they were caught walking grandma across the street by their friends, they just lost aura. If parents dropped them off at school and their friends saw that or classmates saw that, guess what? They lose aura points, right? So, but who defines aura points? It's themselves. they're overly critical over themselves, and they're already very insecure. And so what they do is they maximize the insecurities on themselves. And I argue, I've had these arguments. It doesn't go anywhere. I should call them debates. And why don't you just create your new aura? Like, why can't you just lower your aura standard? Hey, you know what? I'm gonna do this today, and maybe it's wearing a hat instead of wearing a dyed hair, or like instead of dyeing your hair. And why can't that be aura? Why can't walking to grandma across the street be aura? Why do we I mean, but it's all based on cultural lies. It's all based on cultural standards that they have set for themselves. And then adults are just out of touch because we don't understand what they're going through. We understand that it has to be really difficult to live up to those expectations and then be disappointed when others don't catch to your aura vibe. Okay, like so, it's very unrealistic. It's performance based. It's in a culture that always searches for, hey, how can I look better than everybody else? How can I be better? How can I be accepted? And that's what it screams, George. Acceptance. I want to feel accepted. I want to feel like I matter. And here we go. We're going back to the human problem that we all have. We are made for more, and you can't find more in how amazing you are at basketball or how amazing you are at football or video games or whatever else. There's it's not based on that. And I'm sure you agree with that.
It's just 600 pounds down is more than just a health and fitness podcast, guys. This is about health for all of life. And right now we're really talking about the mental stuff. I'll admit, I can't imagine being a teenager in 2025. Being a teenager in 2025 is probably the hardest time it's ever been to be an adolescent. You're going through puberty. All your mental development is really kind of coming to a head at this time, and it's rough out there. At the store that I work, we have a couple of high schoolers that work with us. I gotta be honest with you. I think all the high schoolers and the young college students that work at the store, are probably some of the best that our town. They're some of the best kids, go-getters that I've ever seen. But they tell me about like what's going on in school and everything, and I'm just like, shoot, man, I'm so glad I'm not like a teenager right now. I'm like that's a rough get.
Yep.
To be a teenager right now. But yeah, man, I can't not talk about my faith on this one, man. There's no category for fulfillment for me, ultimate fulfillment outside of Jesus Christ. I don't have a category for it. You can run and chase if you want. You can chase the bottle, chase the drug, chase the needle, whatever. You can chase the approval. You can chase the porn. You can chase, whatever you're chasing. I mean, I promise you'll never catch it.
Yeah.
But I just see what this has become. It has become viral insecurity. So all the teenagers and everyone in this movement, because it might not even just be teenagers, there might be some poor adults that are sucked into this as well. But you get into this culture and you're just feeding off of everybody's insecurity. And the problem is that as you're feeding off of everybody's insecurity, it'll only get worse for everybody. Because everyone's chasing the rabbit that they can't catch.
You're right. And you also, and they're never, like you said, they're never going to catch it. You're never going to catch it until you recognize that there's the void that we all have. It's a God void. I mean, scripture's pretty clear, and I believe it's in Job. It says something along the lines of God has placed eternity in the hearts of men, though men cannot perceive it, right? So there's this drawing for something greater than, something more than, and teenagers are, and young people, maybe even some adults, like you said, are kind of lost and caught up in that. We're searching for all these answers, all this fulfillment, all this validation, all in the wrong things. And again, we're probably saying the same thing in circles, but it's not something you can keep up with. I found that going through some more of these, we talk about aura maxing, the height maxing, right? Just trying to do some unhealthy things to grow in your height, be it supplements, be it stretches, be it certain foods that you're eating. They literally believe after growth plates are closed, you're still going to grow. And that's I'm going to say scientifically impossible. Now, I don't know how else you're going to do it, but that being said, I think there's hope out there for a lot of people. If I just get a little taller, I'll be more accepted. Because all the ladies, especially men, think all the ladies want a tall guy, and yeah, you hear that. But when somebody gets to know your heart, it's not just about the height. It's about who you are as an individual. You could be a 4'11" guy, and she could be 6'2", but if you love each other, it's going to be okay. A little awkward, but it's going to be okay. I promise you. Like, you'll fall in love. It's going to be all right. Find somebody you can really have that life with and be attracted to that way and be friends, right? And then there's the size maxing, which you've already said some things on this, but it's from the pornography scene
Yep.
where it's at our disposal everywhere. I mean, social medias, advertisements, websites at our fingertips. When I was younger, pornography was found in magazines and it was at stores, and you had to go as a kid. I had to go sneak looking at that stuff. Like, all right, my mom and dad's over here. I'm gonna open this up and I'm gonna look at it. Was like that stuff, and you had to like literally do everything you could not to get caught. Now today, hey, it's normalized. It's there, but with that comes unrealistic expectations with people too, and especially teenagers, right? They're going through puberty, and they're seeing, number one, they're not seeing love, they're seeing an act of lust just being fulfilled. Number two, they are now comparing themselves, because as you're going through puberty, you're comparing yourself to an adult male, adult female, and now you're like, do I measure up to that? So now you compare body parts, right? And then because sex culture is all over the place, people are looking at this stuff, and it's especially among young men. What is the statistic? 9 out of 10 boys have looked at pornography by the age of 12 or 13 or 14, is it? I might be butchering that, but it's kind of similar to that.
It's high.
Yeah, we'll say it's high. And so if young people are looking at that, yes. And you know, as a young person trying to live up to the expectations of the men, talk about boys, the men they see in these pornography films, not films anymore, clips or whatever, it's they're thinking to themselves, well, is my size okay? Am I going to have a stamina? Am I going to, like, is this how a woman is supposed to be treated? All the things. And which creates an unrealistic expectation of sex, an unrealistic expectation of relationships and sex in marriage, where God designed it to be, and also insecurities. And then here we go, and then it leads to, and pornography goes even further than that, man. It leads to, pretty soon, the images just aren't enough anymore. Now we actually gotta go find it. Now we actually got to go be part of it. Now we actually got to jump from one person to another person. Now we're not going to get married, or if we do, we're going to cheat on our spouse because, you just don't satisfy me anymore, right? So this bleeds all throughout the lifestyle of the individual, and it starts at a young age. Now you take today's culture, who's looking at this up in size maxing, they're just creating this perspective in their brains right now that is, again, screaming comparison. It's screaming validation. It's screaming, am I good enough? It's screaming insecurity, just like we talked about. All of these are tied to insecurities. And as a parent, I'm trying hard to instill into my teen, hey, you're 17, and I know that you find these things trendy or cool. Cool's not a word anymore, by the way. It's fire, clutch,
6'7",
6'7", all those things. Whatever they say these days, no cap.
I don't even know.
All these things, like, so they think all that stuff. What we're talking about today is normal, and that's their normalcy. This is the new normal currently, and I'm trying to instill in my son. It's not what God says. It's not okay. It's not going to help you. It's actually going to harm you in the long run. There's a lot to live up to. You're never going to live up to these expectations. And there's always going to be someone bigger and better than you. There's always going to be someone who's been there longer than you. It's all the things. And so you can't live up to this. And it's got to be torturous in your head to try to live up to all these expectations that you set on yourself. And if you think, hey, if I don't measure up to these people won't like me. These people won't like me anymore. I won't be cool anymore. I won't be, all these things. But they cannot see past that. This is such a new normal that you have to validate them every day. And even your validation that speaks totally opposite of what they believe isn't good enough, because culture has already shifted their brain to thinking this is the new normal and you have to live up to it. It's scary, bro. It's a really scary situation.
So if you were able to sit down, say, with the quintessential maxer, okay, what would you what would you tell them one on one? Like if you had a one on one conversation, like if say I'm a maxer, tell me what do I need to hear?
First off, I would ask what's your reasoning. I want
Well,
to
see,
ask questions.
well, see, bro. Like I just gotta keep up. I gotta be with it. It's so lame.
I can see you being a
Like,
maxer.
but I'm just trying to keep up with everybody. I'm trying to be the man. You know.
Yeah, and I would say it's got to be exhausting. I mean, doesn't it get exhausting comparing yourself to everyone? Doesn't it get exhausting trying to keep up with the people? Doesn't it get exhausting always changing and having to go to the next big thing that you think is culturally saying it's cool?
Actually, man, yeah, it kind of is.
But here's the thing though. Yeah, you say that and that's what they probably really think, but they're
Hmm.
not going to admit it most of the time.
That's crazy to me. Maybe it's just because we're in our we're in our 30s, so maybe that's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
But shoot, man, like I just like the dad in me just hurts.
Yeah.
And I know like the dads in us just want to just take
Yeah.
these young, I know it's men and women, but it's almost like I just want to take these young men and just be like, just care about things that matter.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
there are other things in this life that matter way more than size maxing or pheromone maxing or aura maxing. Like
Yeah.
these frivolous little things in your life. It's just hold on to the real things, the things that matter, like family and faith and your work ethic and your friends, your true friends. All right,
Yeah.
like man, it's such a sad state of affairs.
It is, and it's interesting because I wonder what it's going to be like 10 years from now when they look back at their lives and they have an experience in their real world, and not just in high school, not just in middle school, and not just in college, and younger years in college. I look at that and say, what's it going to be like when they look back at their lives, and what's going to happen when they just get so exhausted? Because I've talked to teenagers, man, who they're so exhausted in life. Not I'm not sure if from maxing or whatever, but it's just living up to standards and being bullied because they don't measure up, and they just want to, unfortunately, without trying to get canceled or flagged, they want to end things, you know,
Mhm.
and it's they're not worth it's not worth living this life anymore, um, and that's really hard to hear. That's really hard.
Yeah.
And what got them there? It's because they didn't feel like they mattered.
It's almost never. It's almost never what you did. It's what were you thinking when you did what you did.
Mm.
That's really what I think it comes down to in situations like that. It's
Yeah.
I, it's not what I did, but it's what I was thinking when I did, and then the thing failed.
Yeah.
And I mean that's just going to be the road. These kids are going to hit real life one day, and I pray that they will have been able to hold on to better things that matter, things that have longevity to it.
Yeah. There's there's just a lot. I mean, we could probably hit on this thing. We're probably going to end it here in a minute, but just I think bringing awareness to what we're talking about right now, it's real. So if your teenager is living their lives and they have friends in school, best believe they probably heard about this stuff already. If you haven't heard about it, it's all over socials. It's everywhere. But there's a if you talk to a young person and they they don't get it. They don't they sometimes don't see past the moment, see past themselves. Um, and it's very unfortunate. But the way that we can help, the way that we can help would come down to number one, always being present with them as much as possible, being the example. And so I try really hard to be an example of health and wellness in front of my family. I try hard to be an example of faith-filled father, a faith-filled husband in front of my family. Am I perfect? Absolutely. Um, just kidding. I'm not. Just
I mean, pretty dang close.
I mean, what's that, honey? I'm not okay. He just no. But if you want to help your kids, it's living out purpose in front of them. It's living out what really normalcy is. It's being an open door to have conversation. It's investing. It's sharing scripture with them. It's praying for them. It's taking them to church even when they kick and scream and don't want to. I know some people are against that. In my home, I mean, I'm glad that my son likes to go. I mean, he has friends there and is connected, but he never really put up a fight about it ever. But I know kids who do, and there's different mixed reactions on that. Some people say, don't force your kids to go to church. If it's a Bible-believing church and they're preaching the Word of God, and there's people who love them, and people to support you, and you're in a community, it's okay to take them to church. I promise, it's going to be okay.
Well, it's funny you say that. My rule of thumb is if the kids can sit in school for 8 hours, they can sit in church for 1 hour.
Right?
That's my rule. So Georgie has been doing this now for 2 years. Lizzie just started Up K, so she's in school for about 8 hours, 7 or 8 hours. I'm like, all right, girl, sit. You're gonna sit right here. No more children's moments for you. No more children. You sit with Daddy.
I'm so bored, Daddy. I'm so bored.
So she, because I used to send her down with the kids after the offertory and stuff. But no, listen, girl, if you can be well behaved for people who are not your parents for 7 to 8 hours a day,
Yep.
you can sit here with Daddy in church. And there's a lot of things. There's a lot of reasons why I do that, what I believe about church and how I see Sunday mornings and whatnot. But she is kind of, but this is like new. I'm talking like within the last month, new. So growing pains and stuff, but we have the busy bags and quiet stuff that they can kind of fidget with and whatnot. But no, but she, my son, it's amazing. My Georgie's fantastic. Almost every Sunday, someone's like, I didn't even know he was sitting with you.
That's great.
That's because my little man is the best, and my daughter is getting there.
She's getting there.
But yeah, man, as parents, you need to do what's best for your kids, even if your kids don't like it. And I think that's where parenting has slipped.
Yep.
In recent years.
Agree.
Is if you do not have time to unpack what I'm about to say right now, but but sometimes what's best for your kids is not what they want, and you're not to be your kid's best friend. You are their parent, preparing them for the rest of the world. And on that note, I'm gonna let you kind of close this out.
Yeah, no, man, why'd you bring it up? Why?
And not even that I bring it up, I'm handing it over to you. So
that's ridiculous. I've got like 1 minute over that. I want to tie something in with that. As parents, I think, and we're going to probably offend parents, I don't really care, and I'm never going to sugarcoat anything. I also know everybody parents differently, so we're not here attacking parents, but there are some more moral standards we should have. Especially if you follow scripture and you live in a God-fearing home, and then also for the own good of the child. I think it's okay to have screen time limits. My guy he's 17, still has screen time limits. Like, no, you can't have social media because all you do is scroll all day long and you don't get I'm making it sound worse than it is, but you don't prioritize yourself. So I have to help you, and so we don't give a lot of time on socials. Gets kind of a few hours on television, but he has priorities first. And so, and monitoring, we have monitoring on our phones. So, like Covenant Eyes and different types of we ever call those accountability theme apps that really just kind of, because the world is saturated in it and it's normalized according to the world, and Satan's crafty. And it only takes a small little crack through the door to pique your interest, to open a door fully to something that's unhealthy and something that's not going to help you. And so I understand that outside the house, I'm not in control. I understand inside the house, I'm still not really in control, but at least I have standards. My wife and I both do. And our goal is to not be the friend. Of course, we're always going to be the welcomed parent says, hey, come here, come on, let's talk. I got you.
Yep.
But at the same time, we're also going to be the disciplinary parents to say, I care too much about you to rot your brain all day long. I care too much about you to fall into victim to these other things that aren't healthy for you. And I'm going to tell you the truth, and I'm going to speak it in love, but I'm also going to be really straightforward with you. And again, it's not about being the best friend. It's about parenting, and it's different. And it's okay if they don't like you for a minute, because where else they have to go? They got to eat, they got to sleep, they go to school, all the things. Guess what? It's okay. Let them be mad at you for a little bit. Anything else you want to tie into that before we end the night?
No, man, that's good. That's good. And I think that, that roundabouts to if your kids are messing with this whole maxing culture, talk to them. Because honestly, I don't know what our demographic is. You know more than I do, but I have a feeling that parents and grandparents are listening to this right now, not necessarily kids themselves. So let's roundabout this in such a way where to tell you, parent and grandparent, speak into your kids or grandkids' lives. I'm going to tell you, they're probably not going to appreciate it now. But I can tell you, as someone who's in my 30s, where my mom and dad and my grandparents had to have a sit down, almost drag out with me when I was a teenager. I look back on that now over 10 years later, 15 years later, and I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, that was a good thing. That was a good thing. Parents, you need to play the long game. All right. You don't just go for first downs. No, you go for touchdowns. Okay.
I like that. Go for touchdowns. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here tonight. Checking out we actually are recording and going and live. I didn't know we were going live, but I guess we are, which is great. So if you're checking us out on Facebook, on YouTube.
Are we live right now?
We are. Who would have
You're going to tell me this right now?
Yeah, man.
Get out of here.
Come on, Georgius Maximus. It's all good.
No, you're unbelievable. You.
I didn't even know.
It's probably only live on you. I don't think it's live on me.
No, I think it's on you. You don't rate, dude.
No, I don't rate. I talk about Jesus too much to rate.
I'm Facebook maxing right now. No.
Oh man.
Yeah. So thank you for watching. If you have watched live tonight. Secondly, if you're listening to the recording of this podcast episode, just been on our hearts to talk about. Really on my heart, and then George said, "Okay, I'll do it." But he does have some good information too. He has some knowledge he brought to the table. But yeah, guys, we'll be back. There's opportunities for you to get involved with 600 Pounds Down. I know we're not always active every week on a podcast episode, but we do put ones out here and there to make sure you guys have some opportunities to hear some great strategies and options and things like that to help you. And, just if you can, which I would encourage, if you have Facebook, if you're listening to this, go to the 600 Pound Down Facebook group. It's a private Facebook community. You can find it. It's called 600 Pounds Down. You can find it there. Join it. It's okay. There's over 1,000 people, which is crazy to me. Over 1,000 people, George. And
that's awesome, man.
It's free. It's good information. Just like little questions come in there, some information to equip you, to help you, and to get you on track. And then most of the time, 99% of the time, the podcast is first to drop there. And then it goes to the other platforms afterwards. So anything else you want to close us out with, George?
No, just be wary, I guess, of social media trends. They are, just because they're cool doesn't mean they're good for you. Be a little bit wiser than that.
I like that. Because they're cool does not mean they're good for you. Unless it's 600 pounds down, it's a good trend. You should jump on board with
it's
that.
A wonderful trend.
It's the only time.
I heard the guy lost 600 pounds. I heard he was 800. He was one donut away from 800 pounds.
One donut away. Wow. I was donut maxing back in the day, homie.
That's right. That's right. Sugar maxing.
That's right. All in it. No. Love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and for listening to the recording. We'll catch you next time on the
600 Pounds Down podcast.
See you next time.